My sincere apologies for the access issue with Friday's hashtag UnityNet-FAU BIPOCA Alliance Canada Bureau call. The Zoom invitation was missing the full access code, preventing anyone from joining. That responsibility is mine, and I regret the inconvenience, especially across time zones. Rather than rush Friday's session, I'm recording today's full 40-minute talk as intended. We'll reopen live on Monday for Herschel's Accra Reset update and input from FAU, WCM, and BIPOCA partners. Today is not a replacement for dialogue, it's a foundation for it, naming something serious, how peace gets delivered at the community level in a strained world. What we practice here is not leadership, but shelter. Stewardship, creating civic and diplomatic space for communities to meet, speak, and shape their future without being owned, branded, or extracted from. First, I would like to start with a land acknowledgement. We gather on the traditional territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit, Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, Wendat, Chippewa, and Métis peoples. We honor Turtle Island's 3 foundational indigenous covenants: Dish with One Spoon, Two-Row Wampum, Silver Covenant Chain, calling for shared stewardship, sovereign coexistence, and mutual aid. We recommit to reconciliation, relational accountability, and protecting Mother Earth. What follows is not to adopt, but to host.
So today, let's talk about a different kind of infrastructure. We're not talking about steel or concrete, but something built on a much deeper foundation, our shared humanity. And this isn't a project pitch. Think of it as an invitation to see peace not just as a goal, but as the very ground from which everything else can actually grow. Let's dive into this amazing idea. This one idea, it's really the heart of this entire approach. It's asking us to just forget about highways and physical roads for a minute, and instead to really see the connections that are already there, between people, between communities, and across generations. I want you to think about a watershed for a second. It's a living, breathing system, right? A network where every single drop of water is connected, all flowing together, all sustaining life. That's the core metaphor here. And these networks, they're made of stories. They're made of local wisdom that's been passed down. They are literally rooted in the soil, in the hands of elders who hold the memory of a place. And they're carried forward by the energy, by the movement of young people, through their own neighborhoods and into the future. The point is, this whole idea isn't about creating these networks from scratch. It's about recognizing, honoring, and strengthening what's already there. So, where does something like this even begin? Well, not with a business plan, not with a grant proposal, but with something so much more fundamental. It all starts with healing. It starts by treating the well-being of a community as the most essential foundation of all.
Okay, and this is what's so interesting. It completely reframes how we think about this. We're being asked to see healing not as some kind of reactive fix after a crisis, but as actual essential infrastructure. It's the deep preventative work that creates stability before things fall apart.
And the need for this kind of deep work, wow, it is absolutely staggering. Right now, there are 50 million people trapped in modern slavery around the world. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire population of Spain. So here's the crucial shift in thinking. For a long time, the response was all about rescue, about prosecution, and those things are important. But they often miss the deep, invisible wounds left behind. When you start to see modern slavery as a profound health and humanity crisis, it opens the door to solutions that actually heal the root trauma, not just for one person, but for entire communities.
Okay, so if these corridors are living networks, what does that journey actually look like? I mean, how does this idea flow from one place to another, connecting completely different parts of the world?
Well, the flow begins in places like South Kivu in the DRC. Here, it's all about the elders as the keepers of memory. They are the ones who anchor this work in recovery and in dignity, making sure the past is honored as the foundation for whatever comes next.
And from there, the current moves. It flows to places like the Rift Valley in Kenya. And here, it's the youth who are the carriers. They're the ones building local peace networks, leading these regenerative projects, and really becoming the architects of community trust. They're moving the future forward.
And then, the flow reaches cities like Markham in Canada. Now, these cities and their diaspora communities, they don't lead or direct any of this.
Instead, they carry protection. They act as safe gateways, hosting these spaces where all these global connections can land, interact, and truly belong to the world.
And that brings us to a really important clarification. What is Canada's role in this global network? The answer is very specific, and it's built around this powerful idea of stewardship. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. The role is not to be an owner, but a host, not an operator, but a protector. It's not about being the funder, it's about being a steward. And maybe most importantly, it's not about being a leader, but a bridge. This is a massive shift from the way things have usually been done. So in the real world, what does this stewardship actually look like? Well, it means hosting gatherings where everybody has an equal voice. It means actively protecting the local ownership and legitimacy of the work happening on the ground. It's using a global platform to give visibility to local efforts, but never, ever taking control. And it means connecting cities through formal partnerships with diaspora communities acting as those vital human bridges between them.
I mean, this quote just says it all, doesn't it? The goal is to amplify, not to take over. To connect, not to control. It's a role of profound respect and, really, of service.
So, when all these different streams and rivers finally flow together, what kind of global ocean do they create? This is where we get to see the ultimate vision, how this network actually makes peace tangible, sustainable, and, well, productive.
The logic here is really powerful. It starts with things people already love and connect over, like sports or culture. But here's the key. Those things aren't the solution. They're the doorway. They open a path into real, tangible support, like better healthcare, chances for education, and creating local jobs that last. From there, governance is shared through these community-led councils, creating this incredible cycle where communities strengthen each other, which is the total opposite of the old models of extraction.
And all of this brings us to the final and maybe most essential question. When you build an infrastructure based on trust, on healing, on shared humanity, what really becomes possible? And here's the hopeful answer to that question. What grows in one community can actually nourish another. The strength of one network can support its neighbors. This is how peace stops being some distant dream and starts becoming a living, breathing, and truly productive reality.
It's an invitation, not just to build something new, but to tend to what's already there, to protect it, and to steward a more deeply connected world.
Productive peace infrastructure means delivery architecture, quiet systems protecting youth, anchoring trust, enabling dignified self-governance. Sport isn't the solution, it's the doorway to learning, health, skills, leadership, and cultural legitimacy. The same applies to arts, culture, and youth leadership. Entry points to dignity, stability, belonging. Canada doesn't lead these corridors, it hosts and protects them, giving civic and diplomatic legitimacy. Markham and the GTA serve as a gateway node where diaspora, municipalities, and global partners meet equally. Diaspora are bridges, not audience. Canada shelters global corridors legally and institutionally, preventing capture. Our logic: South Kivu elders anchor memory, healing, legitimacy. Kenya youth shape governance and protection. Canadian cities provide shelter. Not a pipeline, a circle of memory, movement, municipal legitimacy, repeating. Before scaling, protect these questions. What safeguards youth from branding over benefit? Elders from symbolism over authority? Cities from ownership over hosting? Cultures, languages, women, children, biosphere from assets over relations? If unclear, we're not ready. UnityNet moves communities from global promises to local practice in food, water, learning, health, dignity, belonging. Sport, culture, youth are one doorway. What follows must be community-owned, dignity-centered, replicable without extraction. True delivery architecture. Canada shelters these corridors. If Accra Reset is sovereign capacity, UnityNet is sovereign delivery. Not state-owned, institution-branded, but community-held, cities as sheltered. Monday, we'll co-author this live with Herschel and you, not as proposal, but carrier. We build delivery for dignity, trust, stewardship. Done right, it belongs anywhere, taken from nowhere. Thank you for walking this corridor with care.